Right, we're in the front garden. We're going to do a bit of a garden tour. There will be traffic noise because it's a weekday and there's seems to be a bit of traffic about today, but let's just have a look at how the plants are doing anyway. So we'll start at the entrance to the drive here with the waggy. Starting to push some new growth. Been quite a slow one this, but I'm sure that will pick up in time. So we've got a big clump of the Foffia there, or red hot pokers. We've got a fig tree starting to come into its own. This is one I actually grew from seed a couple of years back. I thought I'd plonk it in the front here, so that seems to be doing okay. Leaves are starting to get a reasonable size on that. Washingtonian Robusta double, starting to push out some nice new growth. Didn't do too bad over winter, to be fair. Some of the old leaves have got a bit of spotting on and some brown edging, but not too bad. We've got some big variegated grass there. We've got the European fan palm there. I think that is actually a double. That's a double in the pot when I bought it. It's quite a small plant. So it's standard Camelopsumulus. Some small variegated yucca there. Another one there. These are all new plantings. Some nice variegated grass. We've got the rhododendron, which is starting to go over a bit now, but it did look quite nice and bright for a time. Then we've got a cluster of 3 cordylines here. Like I say, these are all freshly planted this year. So we've got the purple sensation. We've got Superstar, which is the wide leaf version of the red star, and just a nicer colour. And then the can, believe it or not, for such a small plant, is in flower. So didn't expect that. I put it in the ground maybe about a month ago, and it's shot out a nice big flower spike. So I don't know whether that'll be getting seeds off that, but if that does seed, I'll be definitely growing some of that. This is the nice sort of variegated green yellow, and comes out more sort of pinky red in the centre. So that's quite a nice form cordyline, and yeah, surprised to see it flowering. We've got a Brugmansia here starting to kick in. That's just the standard white flower. Could do with a bit more feed. It's looking a bit hungry, starting to get a little bit yellow. And we've got a dahlia by the looks of it just starting to push up here. And we've got a Camerops cerifera, so the blue form of the standard Camerops. It's a slightly hardier, nice blue foliage on that. Lots of weeds coming up as well, so we're trying to keep on top of them. Now, I can't remember what these are called, but these are like, I've got a triffid mix of large leaf annuals last year, and it's obviously self-seeded and starting to come up again, so I'm going to leave them for now. Got the hot lips, salvia hot lips. That's doing quite nicely. Formium, black formium there. The yucca which we transplanted. We've got a canna here. This is Cleopatra. Doesn't seem to have much colour at the moment. I think the slugs and snails have been at it again, but a little bit behind the ones in the back, but don't quite get as much sun here until it gets a bit bigger, because we do have quite a large tree which blocks the morning sun, but it gets full afternoon and evening sun, so it should do okay. Nice foxglove just come into flower, really pretty flowers on that. So we've got another Washingtonia robusta there, and a double at the back, along with Yucca Jewel, small Canariensis there, and we've got our Sable Minor, which did take a bit of damage over winter. We've got some brown tips on that, but that was his first winter out unprotected. I mean, that's been in the pot. It only went out last year, so it's his first winter in the ground. And yeah, we'll see on that one. See if we get any new growth out of that this year. I know they're quite slow. So that is the sort of the front border, which is in slight shade at the moment. We've got the Magnolia Little Gem there, which we planted last year. Doing okay. Another little yucca there, with strata, the sort of blue form. And the euphorbia at the back there starting to kick in, looking nice. One of my test filibusters that I've had in the ground over winter. Didn't do too bad. That's a leaf from last year, so it didn't really take too much damage, just some brown tipping, pushing out a new leaf. We've got the tree fern here, which does get a bit windswept out the front here, but plenty of new fronds come out on that. Then we've got the dwarf gunner, if you like, the rhubarb, ornamental rhubarb, so it's got the red underleaf. And doing okay, got fairly decent sized leaves on that. And we've got all the cannas which were left in the ground from last year starting to come back. All looking good. And we've got the nano ops here, or the Afghanistan shrub palm, which is one of the hardiest palms in the world. Some of the old leaves were already damaged. This is not damaged from this winter. This already had some brown spotting from when I got it last year. Got several growth points on this. You can see it's pushing out a new frond in the centre there, and this is one also. And there's several sort of offsets on that of a new growth point coming out here. So there, it seems to be doing okay. Nice sort of grey green on that. Do need to weed out here. We've got some grass coming up. Again, some little Tropicana gold coming up there. We've got some grass coming up here in the Formium, so we'll get in there later properly and give that a weeding. So we've got some banana cannas coming up the back, then we've got the Musa Baju here kicking out a decent sized leaf. The Yucca recurvifolia flowered for the first time last year, so we can see that's the old flower spike which we cut off, and now we've got about four or five growth points coming out there. Again, this is sort of a canna area, so we've got some Musifolia and Indica starting to come up, and there's a bit of Tropicana black at the back there as well. This is an interesting one, the Triphanix campestris. So I don't know if I've done the right thing or not. I covered this up over winter to keep the frosts and worst of the wet weather off, and it's not spear pulled, but all the the main growth point here, definitely not looking too good. It's not pulling, so hopefully that may grow back, but the side growth here is looking really good. Lots of new growth on that, so we'll keep an eye on that, see how that does. Another Camerops humus here, Bears Bridges, some more Cannas, and the Cinero Ripens, Saw Palmetto. Always looks green, always looks quite yellowy, this one. Always looks worse on camera, but it has actually started pushing some new growth, which is looking, as you can see that, looking a bit greener. This is supposed to be the silver form, but yeah, no, it's growing. So winter didn't seem to bother it. We've got lots of new little leaves out of all the growth points. So I'm going to try and feed that up and see if we can get some better colour on that. But yeah, survived the winter no problem. First winter in the ground. Trachycarpus, fine. So I did mention in another video we closed down the cactus bed, and I didn't know what the heck to do with some of the big cactus, so I'm probably just going to sell them, knock them out for like $5 a pot or something just to get rid of them. And some of these are quite big cacti now, but I just ain't got nowhere to put them, so they're no good to me. But I think one of the highlights is the Bird of Paradise coming up, looking really good. It's finally popped. I've got that right outside my front window, so when I sit down in the evening I can enjoy that. Nice little view at the front. Got some more Washingtonian Buster here in pots, which I dug up from the garden, which were too close to other plants, so they're in recovery because we broke a lot of roots, so I've cut all the leaves off. Well, I haven't on this one, but already we're getting some nice new growth on these. Not too concerned about that. So these Camerops, so I did have a kind viewer respond to, because I never really, you didn't see these types so much. These are the Etna Star, got the white, really white sort of underside, and the new fronds come out almost white. So yeah, it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's just a sort of subspecies of the standard Camerops humus, but yeah, these have tried to flower. These are very small plants still, but quite a chunky base, but not so much on the height. But yeah, they've been pushing out the flowers this year. In fact, this one's got loads of pods on that. That's doing quite well. Not quite so white, this one. So yeah, and we've got the Phoenix canariensis in pots, doing well, pushing out new growth. Looking good. Just some dahlias in pots here. We've got pygmy date palm here, Phoenix rebellini, however you want to say it. Double, doing well, kicking out loads of new growth. And then we've just got a couple of pots here, some Aeoniums, giant bird of paradise, the white form, nice big leaves on that, and Phoenix rupicola or rupicola, a little bit washed out due to sort of adjusting to the sun, but hopefully a little bit of burn on this old leaf, but I think that's just sort of started to die off. It's an old leaf, and it's got some kicking out two spears at once there, So that is just a little bit of an update. Oh, we missed the centre beds, so this is a sort of a view from the gate to the back garden. So let's just have a look at the centre beds. So we've got the basically just raised planters here. We've got the big agave I moved earlier this year. They don't mind being moved at all. Really starting to look quite nice. Nice, really thick grey, green, and already, after I cut everything off, already sticking up 2 little pups, offsets from the side. We've got the purple heart. Just thought that'd complement the colour on that. There's not really kicked in yet, but I think that'd be a good colour combination with the purple and the grey green. So yeah, I think that should do rather well this year. Like I say, the leaves are pretty big on this. Just got to be very careful how I handle that. And then we've got the agave attenuata. So this is not the hardy agave at all, but it is nice and soft, so it's quite nice to touch after something like the Americana, which will rip you to pieces. This is nice and soft. You can brush against this, it's not going to hurt you at all. Nice foliage on that, nice sort of flower rosette. And I did say there's a couple of offsets coming off at the bottom there. So we've got a little bit of rot on this tricolour agave. Still plenty of good growth in the middle, and we've also got a little offset coming there as well. So that's quite a nice, interesting looking agave. Just to mention, I am surprised that we've got some cacti in here which have been out all winter. Wind, snow. I say snow, we only had a tiny little bit of snow this year. And totally unfazed, kicking out new growth. Again with this one, yeah, coloration's not looking brilliant, but that'll soon green up with the hot weather coming in. Got another nice yucca there. Yeah, quite nice variegation on the leaves on there. Little variegated Americana there, and we've got the Bootia odorata, which is starting to look a bit better. It's kicking out absolutely tons of new growth in the centre there, so I'm hoping that's going to really come into its own this year, because it looked a bit rough last year because I had to cut a lot of the older leaves off. But yeah, should look good this year, or at least by the end of summer hopefully. And then last but not least, we just got the red banana or Ensete vermicosum morellii, starting to kick out some growth now, looking good. Just a couple of bedding plants around. Right, so that's how the front garden's looking. So I say the bulk of this was done last year, and then we did have a big clump of heather which we took out this year, and we've got a load of new plants in there. So for me, the highlight of the front garden at the moment is I just can't believe how this is such a small cordyline is flowering. That's totally caught me unawares. And obviously the bird of paradise flowering at the top there. But right, that is it for the front garden tour. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.